room. It's kind of a way to pull everything together, see how we can make sense of what we've learned so far, what we know about access and acquisition of assistive technology in resource-limited environments, particularly in more low and middle income countries, and where do we go from there? Let me start by giving you some information about the Burton Blatt Institute. Maybe I should introduce myself first. So I'm Dipti Samant. I work as a senior research associate at the Burton Blatt Institute at Syracuse University. And I did want to credit my other senior colleagues who worked on developing this framework along with me. Dr. Meera Adya, who's our Director of Research, Dr. Marcia Scheer, who many of you might have heard of. She's really the one who's worked on the matching person and technology models, does a lot of work in AT outcomes research, and Michael Morris, our CEO, who's really done a lot of work in the mode policy and employment issues. A little background about myself. I do have an academic background in electrical engineering as well as in rehabilitation counseling, so that does pull in well together when we are talking about technology and disability. The Burton Blatt Institute mainly focuses on research, technical assistance, training activities, specifically on economic participation, civic participation, and community participation, which might sound like we try to do everything. But we do focus, we've done, I'll give you some examples of our current work. We have research studies that are trying to look at the effectiveness of different service delivery approaches for getting people access to the appropriate technology. We do a lot of work on looking at the impact of different corporate practices on the retention, hiring and promotion of people with disabilities, all kinds of disabilities. We do have technical assistance activities, which some of them which look at training people with disabilities who want to start their own businesses. We have some of the disability and business technical assistance centers, the one in the southeast. We also do some work on legal issues. And one of the things that I wanted to mention before I go ahead was we host the Secretariat for the Global Partnership for Disability and Development. Now, some of you might have heard about the GPDD. It's essentially this multi-stakeholder network where what we are trying to do is bring together all the different players involved in mainstreaming disability development and try and bring them in the same network on a common platform. So there's really an exchange of ideas. So the big donors can sit with the poor country governments as well as the DPOs as well as consumers and really talk about how disability can be included in development issues worldwide. So moving ahead, what am I going to talk about really today? Like I said, I'm not throwing any new ideas out there or new factors, nothing we've not heard throughout the day. But this is essentially an attempt to say, okay, so we know there are different things that impact access to and acquisition of assistive technology in resource-limited environments. They've been studied sometimes in silos. We have studies that look at some pieces of it, things haven't really been brought in together. And this was our attempt to start defining some sort of a quality indicators framework, which might look at all the different aspects that impact the delivery of assistive technology in resource-limited environments. And to put it together in this framework, which we could then take out and study and refine and move it along. So this is really the first draft of this framework. And I welcome all criticisms as well as your suggestions for improvements. The way I'm going to go about this presentation is, let's really talk about what resource-limited environments mean. What do you mean by appropriate AD? We've heard all these terms today. Again, why the need for a quality indicators framework, the way we are talking about it, and where can we go with that. Okay, this is, so up on the screen I have a diagram I've copied from Arnold Pacey's book on the culture of technology. Let me just describe it very quickly. It shows a triangle in the middle, it shows a triangle the three corners of which are the technical aspect of technology, the cultural aspect, and organizational aspect. Actually, before I go into it, let me tell you why I put it up here. So Pacey talks about, okay, this entire idea of when we think about technology and technology practice, many times, and I don't mean the people in this room, but many times we are only looking at really the device, the technology, the engineering that goes into it, the physical characteristics of it, the delivery of it. And we are not really thinking about the more cultural aspects of the technology itself, of the users, the social environment and where it's going, the organizational environment and where it's going. So he's saying that when you really want to think about technology, it's a triangular approach. It's technology practice, and the three corners of that triangle, as I've put it up here, are the technical aspect. Okay, so you need to have the knowledge, skill and technique, tools, machines, the resources, products, etc. But you also need to look at the cultural aspect, which are the goals, values, ethical codes of both the manufacturer and the user. Again, belief in progress, awareness, creativity, organizational aspect, and here he's really talking about the environment. What are the service delivery systems? What are the supply chains? Are we talking about, so let me read that out, economic and industrial activity, professional activity, looking at users and consumers, trade unions, etc. So the reason I put it out there is because I think the way we all think about assistive technology, we are talking about all of these different issues, and all of these different issues are important. So then when we say assistive technology practice using what Pacey mentioned, in resource limited environments, what are we dealing with? I think we need to start with three main factors. First of all, what do we mean by resource limitations? Where do they come from? Then we need to think about really what variety of resources, what variety of systems do we need to put in place a sustainable AD service delivery mechanism. And when we keep talking about appropriateness of AD, what are we really talking about there? And I want to thank Darren for actually giving us a definition of low resource environments, I think that's what he called it, because that is always one of the issues. What do you mean by a resource limited environment? Are you assuming it's a poor country? Are you assuming it's a country which is conflict affected? What do you mean by it? And we've just put out, we are looking at it as there are two ways, or there are two causes of resource limitations. And again, I have two kind of hierarchical charts there. One is personal sources. This is not meant to be a comprehensive list. These are just examples. So by personal sources, for example, we're talking about your own maybe unemployment, low income, poverty levels, and things which will prohibit you as an individual to go out and get technology. Then we're talking about some of the more environmental causes. So that is a lot of the things that we've spoken about. Infrastructure issues. What do you do if you don't have electricity? Rehab service delivery systems. Do you really have access to the sustainable government supplied or maybe even third-party supplied rehab delivery systems? Inaccessibility of public services. Can you hop on to your public transport system and go to the rehab center in the next village or in the next city? Lack of government support for AT delivery and distribution. Again, this is just a short list of examples, but really, what if the government provides absolutely no monetary incentives? What about welfare options? Does welfare push you more towards dependency rather than independence? So a lot of these different factors. Okay, that is one part of it. The second part of it is if you really want to go ahead and establish good sustainable AT delivery systems, what do we need? And we've spoken about a bunch of these things. You might need coordination and collaboration of different government agencies.